What is going on YouTube? Today I'm going to be doing a full day of eating using nothing but my Blackstone grill, and there will be some exceptions to this, but as far as cooking goes, the one rule that I do have for myself today is I can't cook using anything besides the grill. So without further ado, let's get to it. And for meal number one, I'm going to be doing eggs. This is going to be 6 whole eggs over easy. There will be a serving of olive oil as well. I want to mix in some strawberries and blackberries just to make sure that, I'm getting in enough micronutrients, but also some additional, substance. So that way I'm feeling full and satiated for meal number one. Alright, meal number one is done. We got 6 eggs and our fruit. As far as macros go, let me break it down for you. With 6 eggs, these berries, and the olive oil, because you gotta include your fats, we've got about 571 calories. And as far as the macros actually go, you're looking at roughly 37 grams of protein, looking at about 10 grams of carbs, and about 44 grams of fat. Now obviously the eggs, because they have the yolk in them, are going to have a little bit higher of a fat content for meal number one, but we'll go ahead and get a little bit more carbs in meal number two, so stay tuned. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and eat this, kind of just hang out for a bit, and see where the day takes us. I also forgot to mention that I'm gonna have one of these little hoppy drinks. I've heard some controversy around them, but for me, I think they taste good and they're relatively low calorie. So I'm gonna consume one of these as well. It's only 25 calories, so I'm not gonna put it in my MyFitnessPal, but in the interest of transparency, just wanted to throw that in. Now let's eat. With meal number one done, let's give it a little rating. Honestly, not the best meal ever. If you're obsessed with over easy eggs because you're a psychopath, you'll love it. But for me, this is like a 5 out of 10. It's just average. And I didn't even drink my drink. So I'm gonna go ahead and drink this, chill, see where the day takes us like I said before, and maybe we'll get into something, who knows. 'For meal number two today, we're gonna have smash burgers, or at least I'm gonna attempt to make smash burgers. I've never actually done this like the real way before. We'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start prepping those. Get a couple of balls rolled, about 2 ounces of patty, and then get my cheese set aside and all of that good stuff. I'm also going to attempt to make some potatoes as a side. That's probably the easiest carb to make when it comes to using the Blackstone, and hopefully it works out, because if not, I'm probably gonna end up having a pretty high fat diet versus balancing out the carbs and fats. Either way it's fine, but something that I prefer is having a little bit more carbs to energize me throughout the day. Alright, meal number two. It's a smash burger with some ketchup and mustard, as well as some onion, and then we have some fries here. Now, I only used 1 serving of olive oil this time. I did last time as well, but obviously I was cooking 2 things, so intuitively you would think that I was using 2 tablespoons. Not the case here. I only used the 1, and honestly this smells amazing, but let's give it a taste test. For the taste test, first thing we're gonna try is the burger. Hopefully this came out alright because it smells really good. Honestly, like a 6.5 out of 10, but a big part of the problem here was that my dumbass did not realize that it was going to take this long to cook the potatoes, so this has been sitting out for about 5 minutes, probably a little too long. And of course, this would be better or more optimal if you wanted to have like a really good smash burger if the ground beef was 80-20. The higher the fat content, typically the better the burger, but in this case, because this channel is built around some fitness aspects, having that 83-7 ground beef is a little bit more optimal from the perspective of your fat to protein intake and things like that. And let's try one of these little fries that I made. I'm hoping that these came out okay. This is a little nerve-wracking. It's basically just olive oil, potato, and some kosher salt. This honestly came out way better than I was expecting. It pretty much just tastes like a baked potato chopped up. So overall, not bad. Give the entire meal a 7 out of 10. Feeling a little generous to myself today. Why beat myself up, right? And for our macros on this, we're looking at about 695 calories, 38 coming from protein, 64 coming from carbs, and about 33 grams of fat. So I'm gonna go ahead, eat this, but I'll see you all at meal number 3. Alright, we've been running around all day, and I'm gonna say that we're probably not going on any adventures, unless of course you wanna see us go to Target. Let me know in the comments below. Alright, meal number 3. Here we got some chicken tacos with a little bit of cheese, a little bit of avocado, some bell pepper, and 4 street tortillas. This smells so good, and I'm super excited to eat it. As far as calories and macros go, we're looking at 441 calories. And as far as the macros, we're looking at 33 grams of protein, about 20 grams of fat, and about 32 grams of carbs. Now, what I will say is I only used about half the olive oil on this because really didn't need the full tablespoon. I realize that I'm consuming a lot of fat here as well, but this is a little experimental, so bear with me. So with these made up, let's go ahead and give it a little test taste. By far my favorite meal so far. Gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Spices are on point. Did make my own taco seasoning this time with the help of Hannah, who gave me her spices for that. Definitely great. Kind of reminds me of the chicken that I had whenever I was a kid at Woodward. Only one person's really gonna understand that reference, and that's my sister Paige. Paige, if you're watching this, you know how good that chicken is. I'm gonna finish these up, but I will see you all at meal number 4. And for meal number 4, we're gonna be having a nice little steak and asparagus. Now, Hannah did make some potatoes for herself, but I said, no, Hannah, I gotta make sure I keep my, integrity intact and only eat what I make off of the grill. So we've got this nice little steak. Let's give it a little test taste and see how it goes. For a petite sirloin, this is hands down the best steak I've ever made. Am I lying?
It's pretty good.
Told you. Now, as far as the asparagus goes, I just made this with regular lemon juice on the grill, so we'll see how that tastes as well. Not bad, a little bit plain, could be optimized. This right here is definitely my favorite meal of the day though. The steak is so good, way better than I was expecting. This is my first time making steak this way. Basically all I did was get about a tablespoon of olive oil, 2 steaks. They were petite sirloin, but you can use a fattier one if you wanted to. Maybe you're doing keto, maybe you're doing carnivore, and put that on the grill. And I also used some kosher salt and left the steaks in the refrigerator for about 2 hours, which honestly turned out super well. It has a nice brown color. I don't know if you can see that on camera. It's kind of crisp on the outside, but nice and soft in the middle. And yeah, overall, 9 out of 10. For this meal, we're looking at roughly 502 calories. And as far as the macro split goes, 46 grams of protein, 4 carbs, and 33 grams of fat. Now I will say overall for today, the fat content was definitely higher than I'm used to. Usually I'll have a little bit more of a mix, and my fat tends to be lower than my carbs. However, cooking on the Blackstone grill, I'm not too surprised by that. It's a little bit more difficult to cook real carbs like potatoes or rice or things that might satiate you a little bit more. However, I will say with all the protein intake I've had today, feeling pretty satiated for the most part. And as far as my full day's worth of eating, later on today I am going to treat myself with one thing that I didn't cook. Halo Top ice cream. This is 310 calories, and I believe it's about 20 grams of protein. 16 grams of protein, so close enough. With this included for the day, my entire calories are looking like 2,519 calories. So 171 grams of protein, 180 grams of carbs, and roughly 136 grams of fat. Again, this is a lot higher fat than I'm used to, but for the most part, I'm feeling pretty good, so can't really complain. Now, obviously, this isn't realistic for a day-to-day type of full day of eating. However, the Blackstone is great, very convenient in terms of cleaning it up and making really good, tasty foods. So definitely a 10 out of 10 type of day as far as the food goes. As far as everything else goes, 10 out of 10 as well, very chill. Didn't do a whole lot, kind of just putzed around from store to store and managed to find some good meals. Kept my protein relatively high, more than a gram per pound of body weight, which works for me. So if you enjoyed today's content, please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, all of that good stuff, to see more stuff like this and some additional videos that I have coming out, including the one this Thursday, which is going to be me reattempting my deadlift and showing you all what progress I've made in the last 4 weeks. If you want to see that video, click up in the corner. That's going to be it for today's video. Until next time, keep it together.